All right, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into another video. So we got a lot to cover on this video. I want to show you guys the before when I used the tiller and how everything turned out. And then I'm going to show you guys the after, how it smoothed everything over. I'm going to go over what to use now during the seeding process. I'm going to use one or two of these items. I'm showing you guys your options if you guys can't get your hands on one of these items. But first and foremost, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, because right now YouTube is kind of taking a lot of the long guys out of the algorithm. So if you guys want to keep up with the progress, you're gonna have to like that video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. It'll be a lot easier for you guys to keep up with me when I post a video. And I'm gonna be posting a lot of updates because this is the time of the year where we need to get the lawns together for next spring. So it doesn't stop here, but stay tuned, we got a lot to cover. All right, so we are at the area where I'm doing the little slight lawn renovation. I showed you guys a couple videos ago when I used the glyphosate, burnt the yard out, got all the weeds out of there, nice and easy. Then I showed you last video, me using the garden tiller and actually going ahead and breaking this ground up. So now I want to show you guys how the yard looks after I broke the ground up and I smoothed it over. Now it was a very simple process. This is a smaller side, so what I'm showing you here is a very simple and easy process if you need to go ahead and smooth it over. So let's go ahead and take a look at how I did that now. All right, so the process was very simple. I used this large landscape rake that I bought at Home Depot. Very basic, very simple. It has the tines where you can pull, and actually, if you guys notice, I had a lot of rocks over here. So this is the side I use to actually smooth over and to bring a lot of those rocks. It grabbed a lot of these rocks as I was just raking through, and then I went back over it with the smooth side to flatten and smooth out the surface. Very simple process. Like I said, if you guys been following me, now you know I said I'm not too worried about a lot of the rocks, but I got a lot of the big rocks out. All I did was start at the top. All I did was start at the top over here, and the more you do, the more you go over your surface, and I just bring it down just like this. Very simple. And you're gonna be picking up a lot of these rocks while kind of smoothing out and moving the soil. So if you do have low spots, you're gonna be able to move that soil into some of those low spots, kind of raising it up along with taking these rocks. Now I already started this process. I went over it. This is gonna be the third time. And I got a lot of those rocks, but as you guys can see, this area is actually smoothing over and a lot of those rocks are coming out. Now I'm not gonna go crazy and try to get all the rocks. If you want to, if that's your thing, then you can go right ahead and do that and keep going over it. But I only went over it, like I said, this is the third time. And as you guys can see right here, I am picking up very many of these little bit of rocks. Like I said, I picked up the big rocks, got those out of there already. And as you guys can see, I'm just bringing it down and just bringing it down just like this. Very simple. It's a simple process. It's not too hard. Doesn't take that much. This is a smaller side. You don't need anything fancy. Just this razorback tine landscape rake. Like I said, bought it right at Home Depot. I had it for a couple seasons already. And I'm just bringing it all down to a pile. And you're just gonna keep bringing it down just like this until you get to the edge, and you put them into one big pile, and then you're good to go. Very simple. And this is the pile of rocks, some soil that actually got mixed up in there. I'm not too worried about it, but I'm gonna use this, put this inside of my wheelbarrow, and then I'll discard it somewhere. But I pulled the big rocks, like I said, and now, as you guys can see, the surface is nice and smooth, and that's the third pass. And majority of the rocks are gone. And that's what you want. Now, like I said, if you want more of the rocks to go, then you're just going to keep raking and keep raking and keep raking. But for me, this is fine. It's good enough. And actually the soil looks great now. Actually, before I started it, if you guys remember, the soil was rock hard. It was real, like a lot of moss, a lot of like, looked real bad. but turning the soil over and smoothing it over, it looks real rich now. I'm still gonna fix it up. I'm not gonna add any soil, any sand to it, but I'm just gonna fix it up and amend the soil with nutrients, fertilizing, stuff like that. So if you guys like this part and you're curious about, that's a big rock there. Well, like I said, if you guys like what I did here, please like the video. If you guys are interested, I'm telling you, that little rake, that landscape rake, is very, very easy, very simple. If you got time, you can do this without any fancy tools or anything of that nature. Like I said, I went over it 3 times, smoothed it over, and it looks good. So now let's get to the main part of today's video. I just wanted to give you guys a brief update on this side and how I smoothed it over and took all those rocks out. I want to show you guys what I'm going to be using before seeding, or you can use it after you seed, is tenacity. The active ingredient inside is mesotrione. Now, this is a bottle that I bought about 3 years ago when I did my whole lawn renovation in the back. It helped me get my seeds to germinate without letting the weeds germinate at the same time. This is basically the same thing. This one is by Liquid Harvest, mesotrione. This bottle is actually cheaper, and the best thing about these 2 products here is they're gonna last you a long time. Like I said, I had this bottle for about 4 years when I did the backyard renovation, and the best thing about it, this stuff is very, very powerful. It handles a lot of weeds, pre-emergent and post-emergent weeds, and you do not need a lot of it. If you use too much of it in a post-emergent state, you can harm your good grass. Now, do not use tenacity either or on Bermuda grass that is actively growing. Now, if you're going to use it on Bermuda grass, it has to be in a dormant stage, not in an actively growing stage. But everything else, I believe it can use on fescue, ryegrass, St. Augustine, centipede. Just read your directions. But if I'm not mistaken, you can use it on all those active grass when they're growing in a post-emergent state. Now, I use this every time I go to do like a lawn renovation or some kind of seeding. I use tenacity. Now, I'm going to show you guys another alternative here. This is Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action, built for seeding. The active ingredient inside this one also is mesotrione. So if you guys can't get your hands on the liquid, either or these liquids, you can go ahead to any big box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart, and pick up the Scott's Turf Builder built for seeding. Now, like I said, this is a granular form. They don't have a liquid form that's located in big box stores, but this is the alternative to the liquids. So I want to show you guys your options before seeding. So if you guys ever do a lawn renovation and you do not want weed pressure, you want to suppress weeds while the grass seeds actually germinate, you can use the granular form by Scott's, or you can pick up the actual Tenacity brand or the Liquid Harvest brand, mesotrione. Now, this one, like I said, is cheaper, and they're both 8-ounce bottles. Only thing different is the Tenacity comes with its own measuring syringe, and that's about it. But if you want to save some money, this one is actually located on Amazon, and like I said, it's cheaper. 8-ounce bottle is going to cover, an 8-ounce bottle is going to cover about 2 acres. So like I said, this stuff goes a long way. It suppresses a lot of weeds in a pre-emergent state. It handles a lot of weeds in a post-emergent state. Only thing it doesn't really handle in a post-emergent state is Poa trivialis or Poana. It does kind of harm it a little bit. I remember when I sprayed active growing Poana, and it kind of sucked the color out of it, and it started to kill it off a little bit, but it's not listed as one of those weeds that it actually handles. But this stuff does handle a lot of different weeds in a post-emergent state, and like I said, in a pre-emergent state. Now, if you're going to use this as a pre-emergent, the only thing is it doesn't last as long. It's going to give you about 30 days of coverage. Now, that's not bad, because if you're like using it mainly for germinating your seeds, 30 days is a lot. 30 days to get your grass seed growing, established, before you can actually start doing another some kind of treatment. Now, me personally, I use the Tenacity for the first 30 days, and then about 2 weeks in, 14 to maybe around that 21 day mark, when my seeds are starting to actively crack open, germinate, and start to establish itself, then that's when I'll hit it with this Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action built for seed. This is a starter fertilizer also. It's a 21-22-4 formula. So it doubles down perfectly. So if you can hit the grass seed with Tenacity or the Liquid Harvest Mesotrione for the first 30 days, then you come back, and this one is going to last in the soil for another about almost 30 days, maybe 21 to 30 days, depending on the weather conditions, like raining or anything of that. If you're getting heavy rains, it might wash out a little bit faster, but that's what I do. I double down. So I'll use the Tenacity, give me some weed pressure, keep the weed pressure away for the first 30 days as the seeds start to germinate. And then boom, when the seeds are ready to actually start to need some feeding, I hit it with this triple action. And now that's covers me for another, so like I said, about 21 days. Now I done mowed the grass a few times within about, what, 60 days. And now I can go ahead and start using an actual weed killer if I see some weeds that actually slipped through, actually germinated without, you know, because sometimes this stuff is not 100% proof. This is just to kind of help you. It'll suppress 90% of weeds, but sometimes, you know, some weeds actually slip through the cracks and it still germinate. And those are very easy. You can either pull them out or you can wait until the grass is established, and then you can use an actual weed killer, something like Spectricide or something of that nature. The only thing about this weed killer, like I said, you do not want to use too much because you can harm your good grass. Now, if you use too much of this, it will suck out the chlorophyll out of your good grass, and you'll see it start to turn white or pinkish, and that'll last about 2 to 3 weeks possibly. So like I said, do not use a lot of the Mesotrione or Tenacity brand. Just use just enough, measure it out, make sure you're using it at the proper amount. But like I said, read your directions, make sure it fits your grass type. Like I said, I listed off a couple of those grass types that it don't really handle, but like I said, read your directions also. But this is what I'm going to be using to seed. I'm going to be using the Greenview grass seed, turf type tall fescue. This is the sun and shade blend. I bought another bag. That's what's inside my orange Home Depot container there. And like I said, I'm going to be spraying. Now also, I want to go over, spray this before, spray the bare dirt before seeding, or you could throw your seeds down and spray the dirt after you like rake it the seeds in. But once the seeds start to germinate, do not spray it with Tenacity. Now in that state, while the seeds are starting to germinate and you have little grass, baby grass growing, if you hit it with the Tenacity or Mesotrione or Liquid Harvest, one of these two, you will burn out and kill the grass. So do not spray it when the grass is actively have already germinated. Got to spray it when it's still in seed form. I just want to make sure I go over that, because some people will try to spray it again while the grass is like in baby stage, and then it'll kill the grass. This stuff is very powerful. So spray the bare dirt before seeding, or you could throw your seeds down, rake the seeds in, and then spray the dirt. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to spread my seed down first, rake it over, lightly rake it into the soil, and then I'll spray it down, because now I'm creating that protective barrier that I want. So I'm going to be using a 1 gallon container here. And like I said, in a 1 gallon container, you're only going to use a half teaspoon for 1 gallon of water. Like I said, this one bottle, 8-ounce bottle, will cover 2 acres. So that's, like I said, you get a lot of coverage out of these two, either Tenacity or the Liquid Harvest Mesotrione. All right, so as you guys can see, I got my grass seed. Now I did not measure it out. It's just grass seed. I'm not saying over apply it, but I'm gonna eye test it. Basically, I'm gonna spread it out. If it looks good, then I'll take the rest and I'll put it back in the bucket. If I don't feel like I got down a nice coating, then I'll go ahead and use some extra. And then once I rake it over, I'll go from there. Mainly because sometimes all the grass seed is not gonna germinate. So I like to put down a little bit extra, and sometimes if you got a lot of birds in the area, the birds will feed on the grass seed and take a lot of it. So that's why I do a little bit extra. I don't measure it out. I'm not trying to be real precise with the grass seed and do all of that right now. I'm just gonna eye test it and I'll go from there. Little in-depth look at how I spread the seed down and how it looks on the soil here. It looks very, very good. I'm already getting excited how this actually came out from spreading the grass seed down. As you guys can see, grass seed is getting great soil contact. Look at that. I feel like this is a good amount right here before I rake it over now. But it looks very, very good. Looks very good. I'm a little heavier on this side, but so when I rake it, I'll probably rake it over a little bit. But for the most part, you do not want to add too much seed. A little extra, like I said, is good, but too much seed, then you might have problem with germination. The grass seeds will fight to germinate. So don't overdo it with the seed. But like I said, you could throw down a little bit extra. Just eye test it. Make sure if you got too much powder in one area, just spread it out. It's very simple, but I wanted to show you guys how it looked. See the soil contact, looks very, very good. I'm getting excited. I think this is gonna work out very, very well. So I'm gonna give it like 30 days. So now let me go ahead and rake it in and finish up this process. Using a little simple fine tine rake, nothing too crazy, very cheap rake. Just gonna rake it over lightly so it can get covered, and then I'll come back and spray it with tenacity. So I'm gonna start at the top and work my way down. Okay, so the only thing left to do now is to get down the tenacity. So you're just gonna basically spray mist the soil, not too much runoff, but lightly mist it. So let's do that right now. Start at the top, work your way back down. You do not want to walk in your product, like I always say. So I'm starting at the far top, and you're just gonna lightly mist it just enough. Okay, so I finished spraying down the tenacity. So now when it comes to the tenacity, it's not activated until you actually water it in. It's gonna need about almost a quarter of an inch of water for it to activate, and you set that barrier for that pre-emergent. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and also you got up until 10 days to actually water it in for it to activate. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. The only way to keep up with the progress here, like I said, is to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let me know if you guys use tenacity in the past. Put it in the comment section. Do you use tenacity when you do your lawn renovation? I know I like to use it. It's a great tool to have in your repertoire. So I hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned for the results. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.